All right, Coach.
What's up?
All right, we're going to get started with a question from Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic. He'll be followed by Kellen Olson.
Thanks, Palmer. Appreciate that. Coach, just to start off, obviously this was your first full practice, and you guys are building up to this. I was just curious how it went. I mean, was it full go? Was it you have all your guys? I'm just curious on how that first day went for you.
Yeah, Dwayne, we good practice. We were just happy to be on the floor and be able to, as Coach Mark Bryant would say, just have a chance to bump and be in drills together. Because of the rules, we weren't able to do much of anything outside of one-on-one. So it was just great to be on the floor with all of our guys. And as far as hoop practice and all that, I want to stay away from that because I don't want to violate the CBA rules. But we had a really good sweat today. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff we got to put in to get our guys ready. I think we open up in 17 days, if I'm not mistaken, or 18 days. And so from that perspective, it was just great to get back on the floor.
Next up is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports. He'll be followed by Brendan Clean.
Hey, Monty, this is probably something I'll ask again at the end of camp, but just the pros and cons for you comparing last year to this year in terms of going to Flagstaff, but being here this year and in your own facility. What are your just early impressions and thoughts on it, the differences?
Well, Flagstaff, I felt like was appropriate. It was my first time in the organization. It was my first time around the guys we had last year. So it was good to isolate and get away from whatever, the noise. It felt like an old school training camp. This year, being in a new facility and having a few more vets on the team, I don't think it's that big of a deal to isolate, especially the facility that we have. I've been in a number of places. I haven't been around one that's this nice. It's just a really nice place to come to work every day. Our guys enjoy being here. The flow of it is phenomenal. And so I don't see any cons, especially with us being in such a short season. As far as training camp is concerned, I think it's important for guys to be close to their families. It allows for guys to get the treatments and medical attention that they need being here in Phoenix. We have our doctors are in the building. We have a great training staff. And so being here allows for us to get the attention that we need, especially some of the older guys and vets that we have.
Next is Brendan Clean with Bright Side of the Sun. He'll be followed by Greg Moore.
Hey, Monty, hope you're doing well. I'm curious if there's anything as you kind of envision the next couple of weeks to get ready for the season that stands out to you as the biggest priority or, kind of priority number one in terms of all the different things you're going to have to juggle. I'm curious just what you're prioritizing right now.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say which one is at the top of the list. There's so many things that are new for us and me coaching outside of a bubble in this particular environment that we're in. Number one is safety and keeping guys healthy. That could prove to be the difference for a few teams in the NBA this year, the ability to, stay healthy and obviously keep our guys educated on, what to do so they can remain healthy, whether it's the virus or their bodies. We have a ton that we have to unload and get our guys up to speed, especially the new guys. As I watch the guys who were here last year, they're picking up stuff on the fly pretty quickly. But the things that we do can be a little bit different. The languages are different from a basketball standpoint. So there's so many things that are at the top of the list, but if I had to point to one thing, it's just the health of our players, the health of our staff. That's number one. The last thing we want is, one of our guys to come down with the virus or infect someone else. And that's something that I think we all can participate in, is trying to keep each other healthy.
Next is Greg Moore with the Arizona Republic. He'll be followed by Paul Richardson.
Coach, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you.
So I'm wondering, are you worried? How worried are you that you won't have enough time to install everything? And do you think you'll need to cut back your playbook, maybe only give them 75%, given that you've got a short camp?
Yeah, G, I think it's the same in some ways as the Orlando situation. You probably are going to have to cut down the playbook and implement some stuff in game. I think the thing that you want to do is give as much of the defensive package as you can. Offensively, in these kinds of situations, I'm focused on play calls and what we do on offense, but the environments and concepts as it relates to spacing, how we play. 0.5 is a big deal for us, whether it's ball movement or man movement. And so from an offensive standpoint, focusing more on the concepts, focusing more on spacing may help us as opposed to giving 50 plays. But defensively, I think that's where we want to, kind of hang our hat as far as allowing our guys a chance to absorb a lot. And I'm going to throw as much as I can at them. We got to, we have a few more guys that are older. We have guys that have been in our system for a year. But it's just the deal, man. It's not like we're the only team dealing with this situation. Everybody's dealing with the same thing.
Next is Paul Richardson with the Sports Cave. He'll be followed by Dwayne Rankin.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking this today. Based on what you just said, how do you pace yourself and saying, this is a date I envision us being able to be here to install this and not getting ahead of yourself or not lagging behind? How do you pace that?
I just don't do it. I don't think I can put up a template as far as where we should be by this date. I think I have to, use the feel that I have, talk to the coaches, but also talk to the players and ask them questions on what they're absorbing, what they remember, what can they retain. The players will tell you a lot. And the beauty of our situation is we've been able to be with this group for more than one season now. So I don't want to, have target dates. In my mind, I have an idea of where I want to be come opening night. At the same time, I'm really focused on the offensive side, how we play, as opposed to the number of plays we can retain and remember. But on the defensive side, that's where we want to try to unload as much as we can, because, I tell our guys all the time, if we're getting stops, we don't have to call plays. And that's something that we've tried to live by since I've been here.
Next is Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic. He'll be followed by Kellen Olson.
Yes, Coach. Had Dario on yesterday, and Javon will be up a little later. I know much has been made of the free agent signings, which is understandable in the trade, obviously, for Chris. But how huge was it for you guys to re-sign Dario and Javon?
Huge is an understatement. Dario's and JC are culture drivers. They're really good basketball players. And I felt like we needed continuity. We lost some guys in the trade from a continuity standpoint. And so bringing guys who've been in our system and Dario's ability to, be a connector on the floor was huge. And his ability to score the ball and pass the ball, transfer the ball, his ability to understand our defensive concepts. And then JC's, his motor, his ability to bring juice every single day is something that I value, our team values. And James and I, when we sat down and talked about the moves that we had to make once we made the trade, those two guys were at the top of the list as far as guys we had in-house. And so I'm just grateful that those guys re-signed with us.
Next is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, followed by Brendan Klain.
Hey, Monty, thanks again for taking the time. For the facility, I imagine from a convenience perspective, it's pretty awesome with how close it is. And like you had to worry about like concert days at the arena and stuff like that. But from a basketball perspective, what are you noticing early on where you guys are just benefiting the most from what the organization has provided for you guys?
The guys are here all the time. I mean, I'll come back up here late at night, and everybody, we're trying to adhere to all the safety protocols. So you don't want to crowd the gym when we don't have medical staff in the gym. We don't have guys who are cleaning, that kind of thing. So I come back here at night with my boys, and I pull up, and in our parking lot, there's players' cars are here. They enjoy it. You can hear the music from outside when you're walking into the gym. And Ricardo Foy has done an unreal job of keeping the gym popping, whether it was at the Madhouse or here at the facility. And I think it's continued the environment for us. But that's been huge for me as a coach, coming into the gym and having, 2, 3, 4 guys in the gym getting working, and it's 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So I really feel like what Robert has done, he's created an environment, a building in a location where guys, want to be. Right across the street, you got really nice restaurants. It's 15 minutes away from my house or so. Just depends on if I can catch a light. It's just a really good location. And our guys really enjoy being here.
All right, Coach, final 2 questions will come from Brendan Klain with Bright Side of the Sun, followed by Nicole Jarina.
Monty, you mentioned the 0.5 offense. That was obviously something we talked a lot about last camp. I know it's important to how you want to run things on the offensive side of the ball, but one of the things that I remember you saying a lot at camp last year that made it work so well was that Devin and Ricky clicked kind of mentally. They almost didn't even have to speak, and they could kind of know where either of them was going to be, who was going to take the ball. How confident are you that Devin and Chris can develop that same sort of chemistry based on what you know of Chris and having worked with him before? And what are you expecting between the two of them?
I'm confident in that particular idea because of Devin and Chris's love for the game. I think when you love the game, you want to figure stuff out. And so I don't think it's going to be perfect all the time, but that's okay. I think, striving for perfection is good, but it can be an obstacle at times. I think I have to leave room for those guys to, make some mistakes, figure some things out and explore. But I'm confident that it's going to work because, one, they have a high IQ, they're talented, and they both love the game. I'm really excited about Mikhail and Cam and DA in that group with those two. The conversations that they've all had have been really cool. Just watching them talk about our offense, talk about different reads. And so I think in the same way that Ricky and Devin clicked, it took some time, but right away, because they love the game and they had a high IQ and they were talented, things clicked a bit quicker than most of us thought it would.
All right, final question comes from Nicole Jarina with Tab Deportes in Puerto Rico.
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
In the bubble, the team was undefeated and you was selected coach of the bubble. What is for you the big learning from the time in Orlando to improve with the team in this season?
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Thank you for being a part of this session. I think the things that I learned about our team, one, it was like a second season for us. We were able to play the first 65 games, and then we had about 4 months away. And so it gave our guys a chance to absorb everything that had happened in the first 65. And I learned that the group one, they loved how we played, but they also had the ability and capability to grow over the course of that 4-month span. And then once we were inside of the bubble in Orlando, you realize how important it is to not have distractions in your life, how it can have a positive impact on your game and our team. And I felt like when it was just us, we basically had like 2 training camps in Orlando. And it really benefited us to push our program along, for us to understand who our players are, for them to understand us. We had dinners with our guys. We went fishing together. We were playing spike ball. I mean, we did everything together. And so it bonded us in a way that I don't think any of us thought would happen. And so we got to know each other on the floor and off the floor. And I think it gave us some juice. Obviously, when you win games, it's really cool. But it gave us some juice once we left the bubble that we can be a pretty good team someday. But we also understand it's going to take a lot of work.